Welcome back to our SketchUp Pro tutorial series. In this episode, we are going to look at quite a bit of different things in order to finish up our project. We're not done overall, but I want to kind of wrap things up with this project and do a few things. I wanted to take a look at doing some materials in the kitchen, changing and modifying the doors in the cabinets. I also wanted to create different scenes, both our regular scenes as well as bringing in and creating scenes for the section cuts. And wanted to make sure that we took a look at our tags, change any kind of colors that we need to, and do a scene where we color by tags. So to begin with, in our kitchen, these cabinets I modeled off of the cheap cabinets, little cheap white cabinets that we find at Lowe's or Home Depot. And these are more like the shaker kind of style cabinets. And so one thing I want to do is if we right click, edit the group, and edit this group, and edit this component. Now if I click on it, it comes up with the little dots, and I know that I'm inside that group or inside that component. When you're putting materials in on something, you always want to make sure that you're inside that component. If you don't, you won't have the options that you want. So if we go over to materials, well actually if we go to our tape measure, here we can go and create the outline of what we're going to do. So I want to go 3.5 and create this 3.5 all the way around. I'm not going to put any materials on the cabinets. We will put a material on the countertop though, and we'll also do a quick backsplash. So once I have all of that, I'm going to do the top and bottom, then we'll do the sides. Now that we have that, hit spacebar, select the center, as it sometimes doesn't select over when you're doing use push-pull tool. Click on the center, push it inwards, type in 0.25, hit enter, and now we can erase those guides. And that's kind of really all that we're going to do with this. That's going to create the look that we want. If we can close that one, we can kind of we'll do one or two more. I already have the guides right there, so I'm going to do the guide right here. I'm going to do this side as well. Hit the R key for the rectangle tool. Fill in the rectangles. Hit the space or hit the push-pull tool, and let's push this in 0.25 like that. Let's do this right here, and then we'll move on to the other parts. So tape measure, again, 3.5, 3.5, If it ever messes up like this where it doesn't really go in, just hit escape, do Control Z, and redo it, as you won't be able to get it to the right amount without undoing it, just so that you know. So for here, we're going to go ahead and erase all our guides. And somehow I erased that. If things won't erase, you can go up here to Edit and Delete Guides, okay? Here I want you to finish up the cabinets really quick. They're on your own. As you can see, our copies go and do them on your own, so you don't need to do all of them, as some will do them on their own. If we close that, we want to go down here to the countertop, edit groups, edit components up until you get to the countertop. I want to go to open up our materials. For this, we have a couple different options. If we go to stone, we have a couple different stone options. I'm going to use this dark gray granite. Select that, click on that part, and click on that part. The reason why you want to make sure that you're inside the group or component is if we right click, you will see this texture option. This texture option will not be there if you put the texture on top of the group. In this, we can select position, and here we can go in here and move this wherever we want to. We can scale it down, we can rotate it around. That's pretty much the two main options that you're going to use. Once you can't get the way you want to, hit enter, and there we have our countertop. We can make sure that we need to go over here to the other side, edit this group, make sure that we're inside that group and component, and go ahead and color in this one as well. Make sure we get all these edges for this one right here. All right, so we have that. So that's the kitchen. Again, the countertops or the cabinets we're leaving white. Do need to finish up all of the design on the cabinet doors. When it comes to our scenes are really important in order to, because you need to create all your different scenes whenever you're switching from SketchUp to layout. Layout is where we go in and create all the blueprints, all the presentations for our project. And so we want to make sure that all of that is done whenever we go into layout, because that's what we use. We use a SketchUp file over in our layout, and they're linked. So in here, I want to bring up our roof, and I want to create a front look for our project. You can select if you have this toolbar up here. If you don't, you can right click and select it, its views. Or if you don't have any up here and you actually can't select the empty area, you can go to View, Toolbars, and you can select the different things here. The main things that I would select is, one, I would turn off Getting Started and make sure you select Large Tool Set. Turn on Section, turn on Styles, and turn on Views. Those are your primary ones. But set your view up that you want. We want to do a front view. We'll see here which one's going to be our front. There we go. So set our front view toggle open your scenes. Again, if you don't have your scenes panel, you can go to Window, Default Tray, Scenes. Click on the plus sign. You're going to save your style as a new style. That's fine. And there we go. We can go in here and right click on this, and you can rename the scene. You can update the scene and all of that by doing that. Next, let's go ahead and do an isometric scene. Set it up the way you want to. For this one, I'm going to go to View. We'll turn off Axis. Then we'll click on the plus sign and click Create Scene. As we create our scenes, you'll see that we have Scene 1 and Scene 2. We can go in here and right click on this. Let's go ahead and rename this one. I need to toggle my tags. Once you do that, you'll see that we have these options down here at the very bottom. Here we can go in here and I want to change Scene 1 to Front View. Hit Enter. Go to Scene 2. This is going to be ISO View. Hit Enter. Whenever we're doing our animation, you want to make sure that any of the views that you want to have in our animation, that this little box is checked. If this box is not checked, then it will not be a part of our animation that we'll see. Let's go ahead and I want to do a view from the back. Let's go set that up. Click on the plus. Go in here, do a rear view. Next thing I want to do is I want to create a section cut for the kitchen and for the closet. So I'm going to select the section plane, click on it. We're going to let's do A1, or actually let's do A1. Click that. Hit spacebar, select that A1. Hit M for move, and I want to drag this in until we get both the closet and the kitchen. At this point, I want to turn off that, and I want to make sure that I select display section field. This is one of a newer options that we have in the later versions of SketchUp that does a lot of things that we normally had to do in layout by filling in all those voids that we normally have. So now you can see that our voids is filled with a color instead of it just being seeing empty geometry. Here we want to go in and get set up our view the way we want to. Click on the plus sign in order to set up a new scene. We're going to set up this one is going to be A1, and we'll put in a description of kitchen and closet view. So now we have our 4 views, and we can go in here and select each one of these views in order to check to see how they work. One of the things that you want to make sure of, so let's say that my isometric view, I want to do this side. Whenever you change things up, you want to make sure that you select Update Scenes. You can also go in here and change the styles of your scenes as well. So if you want to create if you wanted to create just a wireframe or a construction document style, you can select that as well. So you have various different options, but you need to make sure that you go in here and update the scene if that's something that you want to do. Else, whenever you go back to it, it won't be there because you didn't save it. In order to save our projects, we're going to go to File. So first go to File, Save As, and we're going to save our project. And I'm just going to do initials PS9_final. We'll save that. That saves all of our tags and everything. Lastly, let's go ahead and set up our tags. So set up our last scene. Make sure you go into your tags, you finalize all that, any kind of colors that are super similar, that you change those up. So right here, my flooring and roof is pretty much the same exact thing. So I'm going to click on that and change it to something different. Click OK. Let's see here. Everything else looks pretty good. Let's go into that more into, actually no, there we go. So just making sure all your colors are the way you want to. And then here we want to color by tags. We'll update the scene. Right click, rename. We're going to do color by tags. And click enter. So now again we have our different views that we have. So now we have all that. I'm gonna go in here, save it again, go to File, Export, and we have this animation. This is how we're going to export the animation. If we go to Options, we have different options for saving it. We can set the frame rate, looping. If we needed to scale it down, we could do so. You also, before you do that, you can go into View, Animation, and Settings. This is going to open up your settings options for you. Here you can click on Enable Scene Transition to where it looks like the camera is moving. If you don't like that, you can turn that off here. You can change the delay that happens. So by upping this first number, it's going to take longer to go from scene to scene. If we uncheck this completely, it grays this out because it's going to instantly go from front view to isometric view to rear view, etc. So it's going to be more like a slideshow in a presentation instead of kind of a camera rotating around. I'm going to leave this checked. The scene delay is how long it's going to stay in the actual view. So for this one, it's going to set and stay in each view for 1 second, and that's perfectly fine. So I'm going to leave this by default because this is the default. So I'm going to go ahead and X out of this, go to File, Export, not 3D Model, File, Export, Animation. Go in here, find where you're going to save things to. We're going to leave it the default. Make sure that it is named appropriately. So your initials, PS9, final save. It is going to be a MP4. Again, we have different options. We're going to leave that at default. Go ahead and click Export, and it will sit here and export it. Once that finishes up, you have your animation saved, and then it is going to be a video that we can go in here and watch. If you're not sure how that's going to look, you can go to View, Animation, and play your animation, and it will play through your animations just like what it's going to be in the video. If you have this right here, include animation, unchecked for any of those, it will skip over that particular view, just for you so you know. So that finishes up this project. Hopefully you learned a lot through it. When you're turning this in, make sure that you take a screenshot of each scene, making sure that your scenes panel is showing. Make sure it's a full screenshot. Place your screenshot in a Google slide presentation. So you should have 5, your title slide and 5 other slides. Turn that in as well as your animation. Thank you for watching this tutorial series on my channel. Hopefully you will come back and see and watch more tutorials. Thank you.